ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Friday, May 31st. Your drive begins now, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. It's Friday. That means it's open text lines. We've got them open now. I fired it up a few minutes ago just to get started. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's the number to hit our text machine. We'll be listening to the machine all show long to get your comments in as we're getting set for the weekend. And that means a few days away from the Cats starting its inaugural season at Jack Cook Field. So minor league baseball of sorts is back in Huntington. Are you excited? Tuesday, can it come soon enough for you? Are you excited to actually have some baseball action back? Now, of course, we have baseball with Marshall. This is different, just a little bit different. It's not Marshall. It plays at Marshall Stadium, but it's not Marshall, though. And players have been reporting. I know they're going to be getting ready. This is going to be basically one of those where they show up. They've been coming in. I know some of our staff that are involved with the Cats management have been ferrying them from the airport and getting them to their destinations as they come in and start to report. I've seen the uniforms today. They look pretty cool. Those were posted not that long ago. It's pretty, I don't want to say it's basic, but it's old school a little bit. It's got that white and that tri-state on the front. I thought that was kind of cool. So we've got baseball coming up in the next few days. And don't forget, those games are going to be right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So anytime there's a Cats home game, we'll have those broadcasts for you. So all Cats games. And, of course, when the Cats are on the road, the visiting teams, they have to do the broadcast. There's going to be a streaming component. We'll try to get those links for you and post those where you can find them. But right now, the good news is if you want to follow along with the Cats, you can't make it to a game just yet. We've got you covered here again on the radio. And it starts on Tuesday, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's stay with baseball for just a second because everybody that was there at the first ever game, Jack Cook Field, first Marshall game, everyone was there. Years from now, everyone will tell you, oh, yeah, I was there. Might not be the truth, but everybody was there. Who was the hero of the game? Well, in my mind, it was Trey Hondras. Unfortunately, he's leaving the Thundering Herd program. He put this out on X earlier today, and at first, before I really read it, I went, well, okay, wait a minute. Why is he leaving? But it's NCAA regulations. Now get this. He's no longer eligible to play Division I baseball. He can still play in Division II for his final year of eligibility. Spent 1 year at Marshall, started all 55 games for the Herd, batting average of 193, 40 hits, 24 runs scored, 10 doubles, 1 triple, 1 home run. It was the home run that we all saw. First time that the Thundering Herd at bat in a game, Jack Cook Field, first pitch ever to a Marshall batter at Jack Cook Field in a game. And first pitch, first hit, first home run, first score for the Thundering Herd back on March 1st. We all were there. It was exciting. I mean, it was storybook. You couldn't have written it any better. First thing he saw the pitch, swung, home run. And off we were at Jack Cook Field. And I hate that he's leaving. I do, because he's going to be an answer to a trivia question for the rest of our lives. Who was the first player to score at Marshall, Jack Cook Field? Well, it'll be Trey Hondras. Who was the first player to hit a home run, Jack Cook Field? Trey Hondras. He gets to be a trivia question for Herd sports fans years from now. And I think that's just the tip of the iceberg here. This thing's going to get better, but I hate to see that the guy who kind of got us started at Jack Cook really got us started with a memorable moment no longer going to be on the team. And it's not because he wanted to leave. It's because he's no longer eligible to play in Division One. Still can play in Division Two for his final year. So that's strange how that works out. But I expect we're going to see a drastically different roster for the Thundering Herd here in the upcoming season. Drastically. You don't open up the new baseball park and expect the things to stay the same. You open up the new baseball park in hopes and anticipation of one day being able to compete for that conference title, also getting into the NCAA tournament. That's going to be the expectation. Any coach that comes in, any manager that comes in from this point forward, that's going to be the expectation. There won't be, okay, hey, let's be competitive. No, you open up a brand new facility, the expectation is, okay, you better start winning us stuff soon. Same thing with soccer. You finally get a new soccer field. The expectation was, we got to get this thing going. And look, men's program won a national championship. The women's program, change in leadership there. The expectation is get this thing turned around to match the success of the men. I don't know if a national championship is going to be in the cards anytime soon, especially with the way the Division I is shaking up. And there's a lot to get into there. Transfer agreements are changing. Players can transfer at a whim, it feels like nowadays. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to also hear from you. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. But staying with Cold Cats just for a moment, guess what? Practice is happening. Players are reporting. And Saturday, that's when it all begins. I mean, everybody's checking in now. Everybody's getting into Huntington. I've seen some of our staff shuttle some of these players in. Saturday's when it all gets started. And it's going to be a fun next 2 months for Huntington and for the Tri-State and for baseball in general. Should be fun. Hope so, anyway. Hope so. And, of course, the fun thing here about this is one of those developmental leagues. So this isn't one of those leagues where it gets stressed out. I mean, if they perform well, great. And then next year they're going to be different anyway. Yeah, every year is going to be new. Hopefully you're going to go and see good baseball and hope that your team wins. Obviously, hope that your team wins. But this is one of those rare situations where they don't do so well. Hopefully you get to see some really good prospective major leaguers, some potential there on its way up, some really good college baseball players coming in. You get to see some good talent, some good baseball being played with the hopes that, okay, maybe this team can, on a consistent basis, be competitive. Obviously, it's structured a little bit different. You're not going to keep the same team year in, year out. And that's the whole point of this. I mean, it's the same way with minor league baseball to a degree. But at the same time, you're seeing kids that are coming in, and this is going to be the first time that these players, as any team, will get together. Saturday, they're going to all get together and start trying to come up with some game plan, a chemistry, who works well with who has it, what's the rotation going to look like, all of that. And the fun thing about that is, okay, this thing might change. Rotation might change several times. We might get to see different players out there. And the hope is that you're going to see really good baseball, and hopefully the Cold Cats are going to win, and you're going to have fun while you're there. Let's get the text line open. Machine's fired up, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. What are your plans for the weekend? Are you ready to go for baseball on Tuesday with the Cold Cats? This is sort of that quiet period for the next few days. I mean, we got the NBA and the NHL winding down in the conference finals. NBA set, the NHL, we got a few more games to go. So we'll have all of that coming up next week. But baseball begins in earnest in Huntington starting on Tuesday. Are you going to the first game? Are you excited that now there's baseball back in Huntington And are you going to the game? If not the opening day game, you're going to go to one or more games coming up this season. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Colecats baseball coming up this week. Are you going to the game? We'll hear more about it, and we'll talk to you when we continue on this edition of The Drive. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Get in the groove. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West 9th Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua's Sauvignon Blanc. This Friday, it's Great Outdoors Marine Night with Litz on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sit Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for June 21st for a ticket to ride to 9th Street Live, a celebration of the Beatles with the Newbies. Friday, August 2nd, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity, and Kindred Communications.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Collins Career Technical Center Adult Education. Get skilled, get hired, get ahead. Collins-cc.edu. Classic Jewelry and Loan, Route 60 in Barbersville, your gold and silver headquarters. Metro Community Federal Credit Union, 215 18th Street, Huntington, and now 5th Street Road in Lavallette.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
At Progressive, we know money can't buy you happiness, but money did help you buy an RV, which means an excuse from working Saturday with your insufferable coworker, Dave. So money is helping you listen to birds chirp instead of Dave chirping about how his toddler is fluent in 3 languages. And it's also why you'll be smelling pine trees in the air, not Dave's tuna melt reheating in a microwave. So save money by bundling your RV or boat insurance with home or auto from Progressive and buy more happiness, or something close to it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Text lines 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. You know, what else is coming up this summer that's going to entertain us? Well, you know the answer to that. It's Heard That Basketball, the TBT, the little tournament that I think saved our season. When I mean season, I mean our entirety of the show when COVID was hit. I mean, God bless the TBT. Absolutely, God bless the TBT. Well, heard that announcing today the return of the All-Star JP Tokito. He, of course, played for North Carolina from 2012 to 2015. Was an all-star there at UNC, played well. And he's playing in Israel right now, Israel Basketball Premier League, averaging over 13 a contest, over 5 rebounds a game. And, of course, in the TBT, those were important points. Scored 27 points in the semifinal game, the TBT. Heard that was so close. Let's put it this way. Heard that was so close that the local newspaper embedded Luke Creasy. They sent Luke Creasy. They spent the money, the gas money, the mile, everything. They sent Luke Creasy to go cover this thing. That's how close they were to winning it all. So close. And so hopefully we get a road trip out of this again. That would be fun. So more announcements, I'm sure. Who would you like to see play for Marshall? Heard that, TBT. Who would you like to see? Is there a player out there? Have they really reached out to every possible potential Marshall alum that has a good shot at still being able to go to play on the TBT? I mean, of course, you got John Elmore. You know, Ott's probably going to coach. I wouldn't have Ott be a player coach, but I mean, Ott's the legend of the tournament, but would you have Ott play and coach? I would just keep him as a coach. And I know some of you are saying, hey, get Tavion out there. Is Tavion coming back? Is he going to come back for this thing? I don't think so. I think Tavion's going in a different direction. I don't think he's coming back for this thing. You got to replace Tavion, though. Who can you get on this team? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's the text line to be a part of today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Interesting things that are happening over the next few months are starting up today as far as what's happening with the NCAA. There's going to be a lot of arguments and debates over television contracts, a shifting of power. I mean, right now, the power in the NCAA mostly is with the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12 staying relevant. The ACC has sort of fallen a bit. I mean, it's mostly football. It's more football than anything. Basketball, I think the team in the ACC always going to be relevant. I mean, you got a league with Duke in it. Duke, North Carolina. I mean, I always mention NC State. I mean, SEC. These are the big leagues here. And Florida has been a sore spot. That state has been a sore spot for college athletics for a while. So today, because you know Florida State wants out. Florida State's trying to get out of the ACC. Florida State's having too much of a fit because, well, it made the move to the ACC and it's not getting the money it thinks it should get. So Florida State thinks it should be a player again. And there's a lawsuit. Florida State trying to get out of the ACC, looking to leave. And the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 have joined with the ACC in opposing the of the ACC ESPN contract. So you have the Big Four all in opposition of this hope to disclose what those contracts look like. This is a lawsuit by the Florida Attorney General, Ashley Moody. And again, of course, you're going to have a Attorney General from your state back you up. Florida backing up Florida State. Florida State wants to get out of the ACC because it thinks it should be playing big boy football. And it doesn't think that ACC is getting enough money. It's not big boy football enough. Look, if you're going to try to get into the playoff here, in the old system, you might have an argument. In the new system, I think you got a better shot. If you're Florida State and you run through the ACC, I think you got a better shot at getting into the playoff. And then you just take care of business. Now, I know it's easier said than done. But the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 all argued in Leon County Circuit Court that documents must remain confidential to protect, quote, trade secrets. And I think part of this is going to be, of course, you want to keep all of that stuff confidential because there are going to be other parties that are going to be interested in how this is all going down. Some of the financial details have come public. And the ACC said that the ESPN contracts have other trade secrets too. Everything in this includes how football broadcasts are selected. So there's some methodology there that they want to kind of keep to themselves. There's operational cost. How much does this cost? What's the cost here? ESPN has a formula. We're going to do this game. It's going to cost us this much. We're probably going to get this much out of it. Sponsorship information, you want to keep that. I mean, do you want your sponsors knowing, well, wait a minute, why are they getting this deal and I'm not? Do you want that? Some people do. If I'm ESPN, no, I don't think I want to share that information. Also signage, future payouts, and the, quote, conference composition provisions. So the ACC's conference competitors also, in a brief, agreed that in addition to the financial terms, their TV contracts include details like commercial spots, which that's important to keep secret, obviously. Yeah, you don't want to give others an idea of what you're doing. There's competitors in the market, benefits to corporate sponsors, and necessary accommodations for producing the broadcast. I mean, do you want all this stuff out? I mean, Fox, and I'm sure Fox is sitting there going, yeah, we want to see all this. Biggest competitor to ESPN in college football right now, Fox, CBS, NBC Universal, not really. I mean, because ESPN is ABC, ESPN. So that's the big one. And then you have CBS. That's traditional broadcast outlet for college football. You hear that music on a Saturday, you know it's time for football on CBS. It's just iconic. Then you have Fox, which Fox now, they're doing their own thing. They think their noon broadcast is a lot more important. They've been pushing that heavy. And that's cool because they're just doing their own thing. For CBS for the longest time, hey, going at 3:30, that was their big thing. Hey, look, you're playing at 3:30 on CBS. That's a big deal. On Fox, look, you got the noontime game. That's the big deal here. And so you have so many different competitors. And, of course, the CW's thrown into this as well. I'm not even going to entertain that they're a major player, but they're a player. The regional sports networks are sort of gone by the wayside to a degree. Not really a player. Some of that stuff that was trying to thrown together over the years, some of the things that Marshall had to endure being a member of Conference USA, some of that is absolutely and totally not even in the equation here. But those are your big players here, of course, and now you're seeing more and more from the streaming side of things. You've got players in that space. Is Turner going to get into college more? I mean, Turner might be losing the NBA, which I think is a travesty. I'm not the biggest NBA fan these days, but I will say something I am a big fan of is inside the NBA and the NBA programming that Turner does. Far and away the best studio show any sport. Far and away. Better than anything that ESPN has offered as of late. There hasn't been a good ESPN NBA studio show in comparison to Turner's offering in a long time. I think Turner's hockey coverage is fine. I like ESPN's pairing just as well. I think when it comes to college basketball, the pairing with CBS and Turner, that's been good. I really enjoy all of that. When it comes to college football, though, I like that the Fox studio show, Big Noon Saturday, more like out like a game day competitor. I like that that's there. I like all of this. But at the same time, you're trying to stay ahead of the game here. You don't want the other competitors to kind of know what you're doing. You kind of know, but you don't really want that out there. And the thing here is that if TV networks kind of knew what conferences were doing, conferences are having conversations with TV providers that are different than other conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking to you, okay, hey, we'll do this. I'm talking to someone else, but we'll do this. So it's something in the effect of being able to stay competitive, because you don't want an idea of what networks are doing, or at least ESPN. You don't want that out there to maybe go against you. Like, okay, hey, you gave them this discount. Why can't we get this discount? You gave them this benefit. Why can't we get this benefit? And so, the TV money is important. That's going to be a huge battleground. The leagues know this. They don't want this stuff out there. I mean, the leagues kind of know what's going on with one another. I'm not saying there's any collusion going on here, but the leagues know. They kind of have an idea of what's going on. But at the same time, the leagues want to have some semblance of negotiating power. You don't want one league doing something with ESPN to get out and Fox use that against you. That's sort of what they're saying. Also, the argument here is this is public knowledge because Florida State's a public entity. FSU, that's a state entity. That's a public entity. And so Florida State, or on behalf of Florida State, acting on their behest, it's a state entity. And so Florida law says that documents are public if they're examined by state lawyers for a public reason. And Florida State's councils have reviewed the contract. And so here's the fire that came back. ACC said, look, no. Florida State is not a party to the league's contract with ESPN. Neither Florida State nor Florida taxpayers pay the ACC. ACC's not getting money from Florida. ACC's not getting money from Florida State. So you don't get to look at our contracts. You don't get a chance to decide what's going on there because we're not on your payroll. We're not on your payroll. And also, the league is saying, look, you don't have jurisdiction over us. And just because Florida State's there, you don't have jurisdiction over us because the league's based in North Carolina. And it does a little business in Florida. So how do you have jurisdiction over us? We're not based in Florida. We're based in North Carolina. And Florida State trying to get out because the whole idea was there's so much fluidity right now. There's so much moving between schools trying to get that better payday. And so the ACC locked everyone in. Look, the only way we don't fall apart is if we don't fall apart. And so if you're in, and you have to sign your grant of rights. You have to sign this away. You're locked in. And if you want out, that's fine. But it's going to cost you. It's going to be so painful. It's going to be so detrimental that you're not going to want to. It's there, but you're not going to want to. And Florida State's trying to get out of this because Florida State doesn't want to be in the ACC. It wants that Big Ten SEC money. That's what it wants. It wants that Big Ten SEC money. It thinks if it can get out, it can get that SEC Big Ten money. And when do we get to the point where the SEC and the Big Ten are just too big? Is that coming? Is there a point where these leagues are too big? Can you be too big? Are we getting to the point where we're going to see one or two super leagues and that's it? Can we get to the point where it's just going to be the SEC, the Big Ten? I mean, can the Big 12 hang on? Can the ACC hang on? Can the ACC compete? Because right now it's SEC, Big Ten, 1A. They're equal. And I'm going to put the Big 12 over the ACC to a degree. Of course, I still think that the ACC, I like the product better in the ACC. I like the schools in the ACC better, but that's just subjective. That's my opinion. There are some that like Big 12 basketball better, Big 12 football better. But right now it's SEC, Big 10, and Florida State's wanting out of this. And of course, they might have a shot. They absolutely might have a shot because the way this is, the ESPN contracts are key to this. And the grant of rights, and that's the big thing here. That's what's keeping everything in place right now. The grant of rights, who gets those to determine who owns the TV rights if the Seminoles, and of course, don't forget, Clemson's in this as well, the Tigers, if they leave the ACC before 2036, the TV rights belong to the schools, right? If they do, their exit would be $140 million. That's it. Yeah, $140 million. They'll make that back, right? If the TV rights belong to the schools. Now, if the TV rights don't belong to the schools and it belongs to the conference, the estimated price, $572 million at least. It could be upwards to $700 million. $700 million. You know, that's $300 million away from $1 billion with the B. $700 million. Do you think they have $700 million to float out there? And they would be completely ridiculed forever. Forever. If they try to get out before that penalty was free and clear. And of course, all of this has happened, and it has, I think, devastated, absolutely devastated the way college football and athletics have been operating, because the TV money is really what's been pushing a lot of this, including name, image, and likeness forward, to the point now that college athletes want to be and will be paid. There's nothing wrong with wanting a financial transaction. The whole idea, the thought process at least, was that name, image, and likeness was an opportunity for me to go out and I can take advantage of the fact that, you know, I can earn some money. I can go earn some money. And we've turned it into a recruiting tool. We've turned it into players who are And I'm not saying that this applies to any player that we know, but, okay, this is my price. This is my price. And hopefully that's going to work its way out eventually, because we're going to get to the point where, okay, schools only have this much, and the schools that have this much are going to maybe have to lean into the collectives that are separate and can bring in different amounts of name, image, and likeness. And, of course, that's all going to work itself out eventually, and that's going to be separate than the budget for the operating costs. Yearly, hey, here's the budget. You can spend up to this amount of the budget on players. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
America Strong. It's what we're all about. And to keep America strong, all Glockner locations are offering our lowest live market prices so you save big. And with our partnership with Kelley Blue Book, the Glockner buying centers are able to offer $2,000 above current market value for your current vehicle. That's how we're keeping America strong at the Glockner family of dealerships.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
The more vulnerable among us can fall victim to abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. When navigating your way out, it doesn't have to feel like a maze. Assistance is available from Adult Protective Services. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL HHS and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Text lines 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texter writes in, wants to know, Paul, how many scholarships are left for both men's and women's basketball? Now, I don't know all the intricate details of what's happening with the women's team right now. As far as I know, if I've done our math correctly here, we think one's left. We think. That, of course, will vary, and I don't want to say, oh, yeah, there's one left, and it'd be wrong. But I think right now, if we've done our math correctly here in the studio, we think that there's at least one available still for the Thundering Herd. I'm not going to speak on the women's team just yet, but I think there might still be maybe one or two out there. But definitely, if I was going to hazard a guess right now, we're thinking there's one left out there for the men's team. And we're in a dead period right now, so I don't think we're going to hear anything here in the next few weeks. All right, Texter writes in, this is interesting. I like this one. If you were an MLB player, what would your walk-up song be? What would your walk-up song be? That's an interesting one here. Ben Anderson, our intern, what would your walk-up song be? He wants to think on this for a second. He's look. What you're researching it now? He's researching his walk-up song. Okay. Thunderstruck's too easy. That if I was somewhere else where I could flaunt the Marshall connection, I would maybe roll with Thunderstruck. That's an interesting question here. I'm going to think on that here the next couple minutes because you only get one shot at that. Well, you could change your walk-up song. What would your walk-up song be? I'm going to ask that to you. What would your walk-up song be if you were a Major League Baseball player? I don't want anything that's, that's lame, Ben. Ben says his walk-up song, our producer, our intern, Wild Thing, from Major League Base. Oh, that's lame, Ben. That's lame. Seriously, come on. Wild Thing. No, that's lame. Texter says, Paul, the only correct answer for walk-up song is Bullet the Blue Sky by U2. Okay. I mean, that's everybody can't have the same song, though. So we'll keep it that will be in our back pocket. We'll keep that up. Is that the correct answer? The only walk-up song would be Bullet the Blue Sky by U2. Which city am I walking into? I mean, do I want to have something that's sort of indicative of where I'm at? Do I want something that's going to fire people up? I don't know what my walk-up song is. That's a good question. Because I only get one shot at this. So you put me on the spot here. What would because I haven't gone through this exercise just yet. What would my walk-up song be? Because I want something cool. I want something cool to be my walk-up song. Do I want something modern? Do I want something, from the 70s, 80s? It might have to be an 80s song. It might have to be. Let me think on that. Might be Foo Fighters. I think the Foo Fighters song might be my walk-up song. I know, come on, everybody wants the Foo Fighters. What would my Foo Fighters song be? Would it be, I don't know, Everlong probably wouldn't be. I don't think Everlong would be the right, because everybody likes that one. I don't know if I would go with, would I go with My Hero? No. Would Times Like These be a good walk-up song? Probably not. That's a good question. I'm going to think on that. You've got me stumped. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We owe the sponsors another break. We'll get that in, come back, and we will come to the conclusion of what the walk-up song will be. It's definitely not going to be Wild Thing. Ben, that Wild Thing, really? Come on. Wild Thing? More coming up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 at AM 930.
Save big money on your next outdoor project at Menards. Easily transport mulch, stone, and other materials with a Masterforce heavy-duty steel wheelbarrow. Maneuver over any terrain with flat-free tires that never need air. Save big money on a Masterforce heavy-duty steel wheelbarrow and all Masterforce tools exclusively at Menards. Visit us in-store and Menards.com and see all the great deals going on now in our weekly flyer.
Save big money at Menards.
Get in the groove. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West 9th Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua Sauvignon Blanc. This Friday, it's Great Outdoors Marine Night with Litz on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sit Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for June 21st for a ticket to ride to 9th Street Live, a celebration of the Beatles with the Newbies. Friday, August 2nd, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity, and Kendrick Communications.
Hey there, baseball fans. Are you craving a home run of flavor? Step up to the plate and swing for the fences with sliders from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Whether you're a fan of French dip, fried bologna, Reuben, or Southern fried chicken, the Marshall Cafe has sliders that'll knock it out of the park. Each order comes with a side of fries, rounding out your winning lineup.
Hey, take me out to the ball game.
Slide into Flavortown with sliders from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue, downtown Huntington.
Okay, real talk. If you want to set yourself up for a great summer, you need to get to Kohl's this weekend. I just shopped their Red Hot Buys, and the prices were so good, I feel like I'm already on vacation. I found myself cute dresses for 30% off, swimwear for my kids starting at $14.99, and adorable finds from Carter's for 60% off. Plus, I saved up to 85% off clearance after an extra 50% off. So if you want a head start on your summer prep, then head to Kohl's now. Select styles, extra 50% off clearance valid through June 6th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Cool. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Final segment of today's edition of The Drive here at ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We are in a dilemma here. We're trying to come up with the walk-up song. What would the Paul Swann walk-up song be? Of course, we've already rejected the assertion that Wild Thing is a cool song. Kids today, that's our producer, Ben Anderson, coming up with Wild Thing as a walk-up song. I was thinking of Baba O'Reilly from The Who. That was... And, of course, Ben, the intern, just looked at me like, who's The Who? The Who? That's the look I just got from him. 20 years old, doesn't know who the Who is. Okay, he's heard of the Who. Never heard of the song Baba O'Reilly. What do they teach kids today? I mean, you know what Wild Thing is because you watch Major League maybe 500 times, but you don't know Baba O'Reilly. Oh, good Lord. Ben Anderson's song. Oh, this is good. Texter writes in and says, Paul, Anderson's walk-up song should be Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin. I like that. Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin is Ben Anderson's walk-up song. You're stuck with it now, Ben. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is gonna be our homework project because I want to get it right. I was thinking maybe like a little AC/DC, maybe something cool. I don't know if I want to go something too contemporary. If this was a certain member of the media not named Paul Swann, I know it'd be a Taylor Swift song. I'm not going to name that member of the media. Is that you, Ben? Are you that member of the media that likes Taylor Swift songs? Okay, he's denying that. It's good that we don't have your microphone plugged in yet. We'll do that next week, but we're going to come up with that. I'll be curious what the walk-up songs will be. If some people at Marshall had their way, my walk-up song would probably be some variation of Cotton Eye Joe or Baby Shark, two songs that I absolutely loathe during Marshall games. Absolutely loathe those songs. Completely. Can't stand them. And they play them for me. And where I sit now, where they've got us up there in the penthouse over at the Cam Henderson Center, I'm sitting right next to the audio booth, and they actually lean out from the audio booth to look at and laugh and smile. Hey, Paul, your song's on. They know I love it so much that I get sometimes the back-to-back renditions of Cotton Eye Joe and Baby Shark. Terrible, terrible song selection at the Cam Henderson Center. And, of course, that's going to continue for a long time to come because apparently those are the two most popular songs that they play. Those would not be my walk-up songs. I'll come up with this. That's a good question, though. See, if this was me 20 years ago, I would throw something in like old school from Genesis, something from the 80s here. I would definitely come up with like an 80s song. Phil Collins back in the day. Something from the Invisible Touch album, maybe. Maybe something from the Police. I don't know. I don't know if a Duran Duran song would be my walk-up or, Aha, Journey, maybe a Journey song. I don't know. We're digging back here a little bit now. Run DMC, maybe. I don't know if that would be suitable. Like a Run DMC song for my walk-up. That's going to do it for this edition. We got to come up with a walk-up song for me. If you got suggestions, please feel free. 304-396-TALK, the text line. Find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. Back with you on Monday. And then Tuesday, we're going to be live at Jack Cook Field for the inaugural game of the Coal Cats season in Huntington. Season number 1. Starts on Tuesday. We're going to have the game right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It has been a blessing and a treat to be with you today. Thanks for sharing some of your day with me. I'll be back with you on Monday. For our producer, Ben Anderson, who despite his terrible taste in music, we appreciate him as well. Dazed and Confused, his walk-up song by Led Zeppelin. Have you even heard Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin? Well, now you have something to do over this weekend. Have a great night.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting. Get in the groove. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's